Hello, all you wonderful people. I'm trying to do more, but I just have a hard time getting things done. But I'm just going to tell you about what's been going on because might be a little bit of a rant, but not really. But just kind of back up and give some history, at least for Indiana, as far as this goes. Back on Palm Sunday in '65, the state, and I don't know what the death count was, it was in the hundreds. The entire state, central and northern Indiana, and I don't know about southern, but I know Indianapolis up, tornadoes were popping up right and left. There was over 100 tornadoes. I forget the actual count was, but a lot of people died, a lot of damage was done, and people didn't know about it because there was no way at that time, nothing was set up to warn people of these kind of things. Emergencies, the weather coming, and tornadoes coming. So they implemented the National Weather Service, which probably already existed, but I don't know because I didn't research this part, but and the other part I just know because I've heard all the stories. So they came up with an early warning way to warn people earlier when tornadoes are coming, and this back in the 1960s. And so now they got all these fancy Doppler radars and all this stuff, and they can tell you, well, it's on the Illinois line, and so it should be hitting, Plymouth at 6:30 or something like that. They'll have down to the minute as far as when a storm's going to hit. And I have an app on my phone from the Red Cross that's supposed to go off if there's severe weather within 20 miles of us. So 2 days ago, today is Tuesday, the 25th, I think. It's Tuesday. If it's not the 25th, then I don't know what day it is. But on Sunday, the 23rd, we were sitting around minding our own business. Jesse was actually on the floor talking to my dad on the portal, and he's laying on the floor talking to him, and Aiden, not my girlfriend, she's not my girlfriend, we're just talking, friend from Arby's called him and told him that a tornado had touched down close to where the school is. And he came in and told me, well, it was not storming. I mean, it wasn't doing anything. And I thought, I said, are you sure? I said, my phone hasn't gone off. Nobody's, on Facebook, they cut in on Facebook too, even all the meteorologists, because I subscribe to all their pages. So I checked Facebook real quick, and there wasn't a thing on there about it, and I follow this college student that I think I've talked about before, that he, you can always tell when his birthday or Christmas comes along because he gets more equipment for more programs for his computer to predict the weather. And he's like in his second year of college. So he is usually right on the ball because that's his thing. He's just geeking all over that. And so I checked his page and he hadn't said anything. So I'm thinking, that can't be right. There's something going on. Nothing going on. And so I text Nicole. Now, Nicole is not only a 911 operator, but she's also is a EMT for our town's fire department. And so I texted her and I said, Aiden said that there was a tornado. Is there a tornado? And she messaged me back and said, yes, there was one that touched down at 6 in Quince, which is right by us. I mean, not far from us at all. I'm not within spitting distance, but within throwing distance. And so Jesse had gone to go do something to show Papa. I don't remember what it was. So I got down on the floor and I said, listen, I said, well, I told him what was going on with the girl that called and told us there was a tornado. And he said, well, do you have any way of finding out? And I said, no, there's nobody else saying that it's happening. And at that time was when I hadn't gotten a text back from Nicole. And then her text came back and said yes. And so I told him, I said, yes, there is one on the ground. I said, I'm going to hang up because I need to figure out what's going on here. And so I hung up, and let's see, I went outside and looked, and it was eerie. You know, the wind wasn't blowing. You felt like somebody sitting on your chest. Like the air was sucked out of the atmosphere, and I didn't see anything. I did not see a tornado. I didn't see a funnel cloud. I didn't see anything. And so at this point, there was one going towards South Bend, and I called Jesse out because he was the only one still upstairs. Everybody else was already down in the basement playing video games. And so I said, listen, I want you to come here. I said, do you hear how quiet it is? And he said, yes. I said, you see how the leaves aren't blowing? Yeah. I said, do you feel your chest like you're having a hard time breathing? And he said, yes, and my stomach feels funny too. And I said, that's your body telling you there's a tornado. I said, go downstairs to the basement. So, but I wanted him to know, because just in case, you know, he's ever out, and you know, I wasn't going to call the others out of the basement just for that lesson, because it'd been over with by the time I got him up there. But I sent him down the basement, and so I started watching Facebook. The lights didn't flicker. There was no indication that this was coming. So I got on Facebook, and nothing from the National Weather Service, nothing from anybody. And people were, regular people like me, were actually filming the tornadoes as they were coming out of the sky and tearing up. It tore up on the south side of South Bend, tore up a daycare, and luckily it was in the evening, Sunday evening, so there wasn't anybody there, and messed up a drugstore right there pretty badly. And I'm going to put, in fact, they don't even have electricity back yet there. And I'm going to put videos in here, and I'll try to cite all the places I got them, because these people were doing things I wouldn't do, but they deserve credit for their videos. So, but the thing is that there never was any warning. There was not a watch, there was not a warning. There had been nothing issued. It was as though the National Weather Service took the day off. I mean, there was nothing. And the only reason that the sirens went off, excuse me, I gotta get a drink. It's water. It's supposed to be ice water, but all the ice melted because it's hot. But, yep, not right out of my head. But so people were posting live videos. They were going live with these videos and showing the tornadoes and telling people where they were at. The only reason that they got the sirens going eventually was because it just so happened that one of the volunteer, I think it was volunteer firemen, but I wouldn't bet my last dollar on it, but somebody saw the one that was on 6 and Quince, and I know that means nothing to you, but it means a whole lot to me. And the boys, when they see these later, they'll know what I'm talking about. So they called over the radio and told them there was a tornado on the ground, because the National Weather Service is supposed to issue something if there's a warning or a watch. they send the volunteer firemen out to their spots to watch, and then they call in if they see anything. That's how it's supposed to work. Well, that day, somebody happened to see it. They radioed it in to the fire station, and so they set off the town alarm, the tornado alarms for LaPaz, and then I'm guessing that LaPaz, well, it was over the scanner, so they might have picked it up. But after ours went off, Plymouth, on their own, said that there was a tornado warning. It was not issued by the National Weather Service. It was issued by the county. And they turned on their alarms, their whistles and sirens, and then Lakeville turned on theirs, because Lakeville and LaPaz are two separate towns, but we go together for school and all kinds of things. So the way I understand it, LaPaz notified Plymouth and Lakeville, and they turned on their sirens. And so it was insane, because, you know, nobody ever called it, so we didn't know when it was supposed to stop. It was just like, you know, I don't even know how to explain it. I've never, ever seen it. Somebody dropped the ball like this. And my dad called later that night to make sure we hadn't blown away. And I was telling him about it. He said, somebody's head's going to roll on that one, because somebody dropped the ball big time. And that college student got on there, and he said he apologized all over the place about not knowing about it, not predicting it. And he said, you know, I was in Plymouth with a friend, and we were eating at McDonald's, and we went down to the park to eat because we didn't want to stay at McDonald's. And he looked up and saw some kind of cloud. It's kind of turned into tornadoes, but I don't know. It wasn't funnel. But he said, that looks like a blah blah cloud, to his friend, and he said, but it's not rotating. And so they didn't worry about it. They stayed there. And his grandma called him and told him that there was a tornado. And so he and his friend went to one of the shelters in town and got out of the weather to cover in one of the shelters. So he was apologizing, and I said, do not apologize. I said, do not apologize. The National Weather Service and the Red Cross missed this one too. And my Red Cross app went off 45 minutes after the tornado had passed. After it was all over, 45 minutes later, the warning came through. Well, it was too late. That's, you know, closing the door after the cows or the horses out of the barn. And so then there's all this damage, and the next day the TV stations all said storm damage, and they do these live feeds on Facebook, so you get just as much from watching TV. And so they were doing a story on the daycare that got demolished in the area, and they kept saying storm damage, and somebody was asking why they weren't calling it a tornado. This guy's not going to slow up or not going to let me be passing, so I'll just get back over. Stay with me. Oh, and then somebody said, why are you not calling it a tornado? And the reason they weren't calling it a tornado is because it's not officially a tornado unless the National Weather Service calls it a tornado. So anyway, I'm gonna put those videos in, but I'll put them in at the end, because I just have to tell you. So So that went on Sunday, and everybody still was kind of shell-shocked, I guess as you'd put it, because the fact that, you know, these things were popping out of the sky like crazy, and they're popping out, and there's nobody telling us about it. Nobody's warning us. Nobody's doing anything. And so yesterday, last evening, I was with Jesse in Plymouth, and we were at the laundromat because the belt broke on my washer. And so we went to the laundromat and just did all the beddings and things like that. I thought, if we're going to use those big washers, I might as well get all my comforters and stuff washed. So anyway, if you see stuff in the back, that's stuff from the laundromat. Anyway, we were sitting there, and it was later in the evening, and some dark clouds started coming from the west, and people started coming out of businesses and watching it. And I could tell that they were watching to see if it was going to be severe, because we didn't get a warning the day before, and I think they were afraid that there would be another bad situation, and they wouldn't know about it. And so with that storm, everybody went out and looked to make sure it was going to be okay. And it was just a hard rain, and it passed, and everything was fine. But there's a whole community now that does not trust that we will be warned when something happens. And I'll put those videos in, and you tell me whether or not those are tornadoes, because I don't think I need the National Weather Service to tell me whether or not that's a tornado, because they didn't give me any warnings, and they're going to try to spin it whatever they can to make themselves look good. I don't know what they're going to do, but a rose by any other name still smells as sweet, and if those aren't tornadoes that you see at the end of this video, you let me know what they are, because the National Weather Service hasn't decided yet. So stay tuned for the videos for the tornado, and I will catch you in a little bit. But right now I'm going to sign off, because I'm on my way home, and I'm down to 2 kids because my dad took one. So I will see you later, and live life to the fullest, live life with no regrets. And if I say this more than once, don't worry about it, because it means that I decided to add to the video. But I probably won't. I'll just make another one, because I had some ideas about some other ones. So thank you for sticking around. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
You got it?
Wait, it just went
Oh my God! You getting it?
No, it's coming back down.
Going back down. Look at that.
You getting it?
Yeah.
It's,
Oh my God.
It's right there.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Look at the field.
They're going off! They're going off! Oh my God!
Hang on, honey.
We gotta get.
Yeah.
You hear it snapping? Snapping the trees back there. Look at it. Look at that. There it is, right there. Oh, go, go, go. Go in the house. Did you hear it pop in the trees back there?
I'm sorry, I have to watch this.
No.
Get in the house, Erin.
Get in the house. I'm watching where it's going. Back door.
This is yours. Oh God. We better get in, Mommy.
Go, buddy. You go in the house. There go the sirens in Lakeville.
What?
Sirens are going off in Lakeville, or in LaPaz. Holy, look all the way up there.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm telling you.
The backside is always the worst. Always.
No matter what.
No,
There's one squeaky down there now.
it is always the worst because it's what you least expect.
That hot air is welling up.
Yep. We had that cold front come through, it was bound to happen. Holy moly. It's just sitting there. The sirens are still going off in LaPaz. And fire trucks are rolling out of Polk Township. And it is just moving right on.
No fucking way. Get in, get in. Coming this way.